With 41,000 bottles of water in tow and a 22-hour drive ahead of him,
I wanted to help.
Bob Doughty didn't hesitate about volunteering his time to bring something to Mississippi he knows people cannot go without.
Water's a gift of life.
With our news jeep following closely, we began a 1,000-mile trip across 5 states to Hattiesburg, Mississippi. Normally, truck drivers are not allowed to sit behind the wheel for more than 11 hours in a row. And Bob is not permitted to drive outside certain Midwestern states. But because he was bringing aid in a crisis, the rules were suspended, and we drove straight through the night.
To drive straight through on a trip like this is a big no-no.
Also, because he was on a relief mission, his truck could get gas when others could not. Fuel shortages were something that plagued certain parts of the South, especially as we arrived in Mississippi. Here, a tanker had just filled the station, which was good news for Donna Watson.
You will start seeing people that's on the highway, you know, nowhere to go, they walking around.
Donna was heading north to Wisconsin. She had just picked up her niece and nephew from New Orleans, where her sister was trying to salvage her home. Donna worried about life for all of them.
It hurts so bad, even though I have family there that was living like this for a week or so, you know, and I just could be able to get down there to see them.
As we drive into Hattiesburg now, we see much more damage, trees down, power lines down, as well as stoplights that are out and billboards that have fallen over. There is more significant damage. There are also a lot of crews working. We see a lot of police as well as hundreds, if not thousands, of power crews. They're working here because along the coast, there's basically nothing to fix.
We'll see what we find there.
Hattiesburg is the central location for International Aid, a nonprofit relief agency based near Grand Haven, Michigan. Here, the water that Bob Doughty has pulled across the country will be stored briefly before it's loaded on another truck and brought to hurricane victims.
That's really our goal, is we want to be the first responders. We want to get there as fast as possible.
And that's one of the reasons International Aid is set up here. Hattiesburg is a central location that suffered damage but not devastation. And from here, aid can reach those who need it quickly. They're also here in this partially built Old Navy store because the company working on this strip mall is owned by someone from West Michigan. He's donated the space and is now volunteering his time.
We're all loaded, we're ready to pray.
International Aid can respond more quickly than the government because it taps into free labor and gathers thousands of donated items and money. The organization was still sending supplies to people who had yet to get help 10 days after Katrina hit. They say they're so efficient, partly because they use churches to identify a neighborhood's needs and then go from there.
It doesn't rely on some sort of governmental organization to be able to establish centers and all that. It is an infrastructure that is in place with caring people.
And those caring people include members of the Southern Baptist Conference, who are feeding thousands of victims and taking care of volunteers.
It is greater than anything that I really can imagine.
They mobilized people from Florida instantly and joined International Aid to meet the needs of Mississippi, which are huge.
If we take the 4 hurricanes last year, combine that response, this is that one response.
And even though the overall effort is massive, it still takes individuals like Bob Doughty willing to go the extra miles.
When you give, you receive a lot more.